Hi everyone, Aiden here with eTrailer.com. Today we're taking a look at the Hollywood Rack's Sport Rider SE on our 2022 Ram 1500. The Sport Rider is a platform-style bike rack that's been designed for use with e-bikes. It has an 80-pound capacity per bike, which is really impressive. A lot of other e-bike racks stay around that 60-pound mark, maybe a little higher, like 66, but 80 pounds is very impressive, so it's going to work with some of those heavier e-bikes that other racks might not be able to. With that in mind, it is going to make frame contact. It's held in place with these frame hooks. Now, frame contact means that we do want to avoid carbon frame bikes. And because we're making frame contact with a hook like this, alternative frame bikes will probably need a bike adapter bar. Even with a bike like this is pretty much right on the edge. I would probably put a bike adapter bar on here just because if it does shift around a little bit, that hook isn't grabbing super firmly over the top, and it could result in a loose fit with your bike on the rack, which we don't want. Otherwise though, it is going to work really well and have some nice features like tilting away with the bikes loaded. To do that, we just have a pin and retaining clip at the bottom here that we'll remove first. It's just an extra brace. And then we've got a pull pin on the left, or on the right, sorry, that I can pull, tilt the rack down, and you can see it doesn't tilt very much. It does not clear with the tailgate here. You can see pretty quickly it would make contact with the bike. One thing this is nice for though is if we do need to tilt it, it does make it easier to fit in between the bike rack and the truck. So if there is something towards the tailgate here, I can reach it, or even maybe step up and grab it out of the bed, just a bit easier, and not have to unload my bikes to do that. And then when I push it back in place, it automatically latches in, and I can just re-secure that pin and clip underneath for that extra brace. The pin and clip isn't too hard to align. You just might need to put a little bit of upwards pressure on the bike rack to get that secondary side to align. With all that, let's get the bike unloaded. It's pretty simple. We've just got two straps on each wheel. Press in on the button on the side and pull out the ratcheting strap. These are our secondary points of contact that keep the wheels in place. And these straps and cradles are ready out of the box for a fat bike tire too, up to 5 inches in width. So that's great to see if you do need that compatibility. The hooks don't fully release from the mast here, which is probably my biggest gripe. It makes unloading and loading really difficult, but we can press in on the button on the side to raise it up as much as we can. And from there, it's a matter of fishing the bike out. You can see with pedals and the seat, it does present some weird challenges to get it unloaded. And if you have it maxed out with an 80-pound bike, that's going to be something that's really uncomfortable to do. So for me, I'd keep that in mind as you're looking at this, because it makes loading and unloading really difficult, especially with those heavier bikes. An alternative to that could be the Hollywood Rack's Destination e-bike rack. It's got a 70-pound capacity, but the mast is at the back, out of the way of the bikes, and it has a loading ramp. So that's going to help a lot with loading and unloading. From here though, let's get the mast folded down. We can remove this pin. It does have a notch at the top that'll align with the notch in these holes. And then fold it down, realign that notch, and then turn it to lock it. You can see it stays locked in like that. And from here, let's get some measurements. We'll start off with our distance added to the back, which is going to be 29 inches. Our ground clearance at the back end here is going to be 25.5 inches. Ground clearance is not going to be something we have to worry about here. Our hitch already sits high off the ground, and we do have a good rise in the shank. So for me, ground clearance isn't much of a concern. That distance added, though, can be lessened by some amount by pulling that pin we did to tilt it, folding it up. A new pin will automatically lock in, giving us a good firm hold. You can replace these straps on the cradles if you want to, if you don't want them flying around like that. Not entirely necessary, but I like to do it. And you can see in this state, it does take up a lot less room. Only sticking out about 15 inches now. So it's a lot easier to pull into a parking spot or your driveway at home. This way, you can leave this in the hitch between rides and it's ready to go for next time. In this state, it doesn't really block your backup camera or your lights, and it still leaves some good visibility for your license plate because you can see it around the sides here. Down towards the hitch, it's working with our 2" by 2" receiver tube, and the hitch pin it comes with is locking. For the anti-rattle device, it's built into the rack here at the end with a tool-free knob that actually pulls the hitch pin and binds it in the hitch pin hole. It makes aligning the hitch pin a lot easier when you first put it in the hitch, because it'll just hit this stop when you insert it in, throw the pin in, tighten it up, and it gets everything nice and solid. So installing it in your vehicle is quicker and easier than a traditional threaded anti-rattle hitch pin. Now overall, I do think it's a pretty nice rack. The weight capacity is great. Really, there aren't many options out there that match that. I like that it has the tool-free anti-rattle knob. I like that it works with a wide variety of bikes. The big thing for me is that ease of loading and unloading. And for that reason, I really can't recommend it, because personally, I wouldn't want to use that. I would opt for that destination e-bike rack from Hollywood Racks. It's going to have that ramp, that mass is going to be out of the way, and it's going to pretty much offer the exact same features. Either way you go though, they're going to be able to carry those e-bikes and work pretty well with your Ram here. Thanks for watching.